Hey guys, William Cutting here. Today I'm going to review a knife that has several nicknames. Those nicknames include the Biscuit and Tiny Terror. And if those names don't ring a bell, then I'm going to be reviewing the BokerPlus SubCom F. And before I get into the actual review, let me tell you a quick story as to how I came about this knife. My friend from KnivesPlus, Eric, how's it going, dude, recommended that I get this knife. And this is the BokerPlus Keycom, which was designed by KnivesPlus. And at work, I use my knife pretty much all the time. And usually, just for reference, I'll usually have a knife that's about this big. And whenever I pull this knife out and use it, people kind of freak out because it's a big knife. It has a big blade. So people freak out. So I was looking for a knife that was small enough to conceal, lightweight, and had a small blade that was that wouldn't freak people out, but yet would be big enough to handle lots of cutting tasks. So after Eric showed me this knife, I kind of started looking at other designs. Other designs that KnivesPlus had designed. And this knife grabbed my attention. Like I said, it's the SubCom F, and I got the Urban Camo handle. They have different variations. There's a black handle. There's also a desert tan. But I didn't have a handle that was this color. I thought it was a nice color, so I got it. Let's talk about the deployment. The deployment's really fast. You kind of have to practice at it because it has these ambidextrious thumbstuds that are made out of FRN. So the FRN thumbstuds don't really give you that much traction whenever you're trying to deploy it. But there's this portion, or this spot, that I like to call the sweet spot. And if you get your thumb or your thumbnail in between the thumbstud and the handle, right in here, if you put your thumb right in there when you're deploying the blade, this knife deploys really, really fast. And another reason why it kind of deploys slow is because the blade is so short and the blade is so thin that there's really no weight to the blade. So there's no it's kind of hard to get some momentum going to deploy the blade. But once you find that spot and get used to how this knife operates, the deployment is really, really fast. And I kind of was turned off by the FRN thumbstuds. At first I didn't think they would be very durable, but I've read through lots of forums. Pretty much everybody that owns this knife can testify to the strength and durability of those thumbstuds. So they're very, very durable, and they're also lightweight, which also adds to the weight of the knife. This knife is really lightweight. It weighs 2.5 ounces and is really, really thin, so it's very easy to conceal. And let me go ahead and compare it again to the Spyderco Endura, and you can see that it's very, very thin. Relatively thinner than the Endura, but anyway, very thin. The blade is 1 7/8 of an inch, and I got the half serrated version. And I kind of like my smaller knives to have serrations because whenever I'm cutting things, it kind of gets the cutting started, and then the plain edge right here will finish it off. So it kind of just helps, in my opinion, whenever you're cutting things. It has this high hollow ground blade, and the hollow grind is so high that it's almost as if it's a flat grind. So it's on both sides, and it works pretty well. This knife slices pretty good. It has the KnivesPlus logo right here, and then the BokerPlus logo. And this knife, the blade steel is AUS 8, and it's made in Taiwan. So AUS-8 is a great overall steel. It's real easy to sharpen and holds a relatively, a good edge. It's a medium quality steel, and I kind of like it because, like I said, it's really easy for me to sharpen. The blade is coated in this black paint, which really doesn't hold up too well. You're going to scratch this knife really easily, and you're going to see some chipping and stuff. But in my opinion, that doesn't really bother me, because as I use this knife and as the coating wears off, then in my opinion, it kind of adds some character to the knife, and I like to think of it as battle scars. The pocket clip is also coated in the black paint, and so is the handle. The lockup's really good. There's no play in the blade, side to side or up to down, and it is a frame lock design. And here's another quick story. I bought a Gerber Paraframe, which is a frame lock. I bought it a long time ago, and as I was closing the knife, I accidentally overextended the frame lock, and it broke on me. So ever since that moment, I've kind of been turned off on frame lock designs. Well, my aunt and uncle bought me this knife, this is the cat bird, and as you can see, it's a frame lock. And here I'm just going to show you, for demonstrational purposes, that as you depress the frame lock, it's very easy to overextend it, and you kind of risk, whenever you overextend it, you kind of risk breaking the frame lock and or bending it to where it won't lock up as good as it should. And that doesn't, this isn't a review for this knife, but that's kind of how the Gerber Paraframe was, and it broke off. And this is Lindsay's knife. This is her CRKT Mini Mai Tai, and what CRKT did was they added these Zytel scales that cover the handle, and they also cover the frame lock. And as you depress the frame lock, the Zytel scales kind of prevent that frame lock from overextending, so you don't risk breaking it or bending it, which I thought was really smart. And it works really good, and you can see it working there. What Boker did to the SubCom was they just used a pocket clip. The pocket clip kind of does the same thing that the Zytel scale does. It kind of blocks and prevents the frame lock from overextending, and I thought that was a very smart way to incorporate the pocket clip into the overall design of the knife. So that works really well, and I thought it was very smart. The pocket clip can be mounted either tip up or tip down, but it's dedicated to the right pocket. So if you're left-handed, then you cannot mount it on the left-hand side, which kind of stinks, I know, but you should have been right-handed in the first place. Just kidding. But what I really like about this knife is the overall jimping. It has jimping on the handle, right here, right there, and on the spine. It has coarse, and it also has some fine jimping. I've never really seen that in any other knife. The fine jimping is really nice if you're trying to get into finer cutting tasks, or you can use the coarse jimping to really lock your hand into the knife and use the knife, if you need to, defensively. Now the handle's very ergonomic. You can it pretty much accommodates any hand size, and you can pretty much grip it in any method that you want to. You can do saber, like this. You can even do a reverse. You can do a bear claw grip, and it just works. I mean, this knife is just so versatile that you can grip it in any way, and I really do like that. I got this knife for about $30. You can usually get it from the $30 to $35 range, and I highly recommend this knife. And before I close this video out, just wanted to show you this lanyard that I made. I made this lanyard, and it's called the Mummy Lanyard, and as you can see, it kind of resembles a mummy. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I highly recommend this knife, and you guys have a nice day.